Think about it. When a hurricane is bearing down or a wildfire is spreading, your power might go out, your internet could die, and your cell phone might not get a signal. But through all that chaos, there's often one thing that still works: your local TV or radio station. So how do they do it? How do they manage to stay on the air when everything else is failing? Well, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the incredible planning that keeps that lifeline open right when you need it most.
And this quote from the National Association of Broadcasters really says it all. When everything else goes dark, that broadcast signal is sometimes the only way to get life-saving information. It really puts into perspective just how high the stakes are.
Now, before we get into the details, we want to be clear about our source. Everything we're talking about today comes directly from the National Association of Broadcasters Guide, 10 Steps to Disaster Preparation and Recovery. It's a public document. You can actually go find it yourself right on their website. We're just breaking down their expert plan for you.
So here's how we're going to break down those 10 steps. We've grouped them into 5 main themes. First, we'll talk about why this is all so important. Then, we'll get into the actual strategy. After that, we'll look at how they plan for every possible failure, how they protect their people, and finally, what happens after the storm to recover and get even stronger. All right, so let's start with the big question. Why do they go to all this trouble? Well, for a local TV or radio station, being prepared for a disaster isn't just a good business practice. It's a fundamental part of their mission. They are what's known as first informers.
And this role of first informer is a huge deal. They're on the absolute front lines, the ones delivering critical evacuation orders, shelter locations, and safety updates, often around the clock. That signal isn't just entertainment or news. In a crisis, it can literally save lives. And that's why the planning has to be so incredibly thorough.
Okay, so with stakes that high, you obviously can't just make things up as you go. And that brings us to Section 2, laying the strategic foundation. This is all the work that goes into creating a rock-solid plan, long before there's even a cloud in the sky.
So who's actually in the room building this plan? Well, it's a real team effort. It's not just one person. You've got the engineers who are thinking about every single piece of tech that could possibly fail. You've got the news directors mapping out how to keep reporting no matter what. And you have general managers and owners making sure everyone has the resources and the commitment to see it through.
A huge part of that planning is figuring out exactly what they're up against. And it's a much bigger list than you might think. Of course, there are the natural disasters, things like hurricanes, wildfires, earthquakes. But they also have to plan for man-made emergencies, which could be anything from a massive power grid failure to a sudden equipment meltdown, or even a targeted cyber attack. And you know, one of the most crucial parts of the strategy happens on what they call sunny days. This is so important. Station managers don't wait until the emergency siren is blaring to introduce themselves to the fire chief or the head of emergency services. They build those relationships when everything is calm. So when a crisis does hit, they already know each other, they trust each other, and those lines of communication are wide open.
All right, now we get into the real nitty-gritty. This is where we talk about planning for everything to go wrong. It's about looking at every part of the operation and asking, what if this breaks? And then having a good answer ready to go.
So, let's play a what-if game. Here's the ultimate nightmare for a broadcaster. The main transmitter is gone. Maybe it got hit by lightning, maybe it was toppled by hurricane-force winds. Whatever the reason, the thing that sends the signal to everyone is offline. Now what do?
The answer comes down to one absolutely critical word: redundancy. Smart stations operate on the assumption that their main systems will fail eventually, so they have backups for their backups. They might have a second, smaller tower, an auxiliary transmitter ready to fire up, and even prearranged deals with other stations or online streaming partners to carry their signal. The goal is that if one thing goes down, another kicks in so fast that you, the viewer or listener, never even notice.
Okay, here's another crisis scenario. The main studio, the place where everything happens, has to be evacuated. Maybe there's a flood, a fire, or some kind of threat. The building is off limits. How do you keep the news on the air when you can't even get inside?
Well, part of the solution is to stop the damage from happening in the first place. This is what you call hardening the facility. And a lot of it is surprisingly simple stuff. We're talking about strapping down heavy equipment racks so they don't fall over in an earthquake, reinforcing windows, and this is a big one, making sure that all your critical data and records are backed up somewhere completely off-site so they're safe from any local disaster.
And of course, these days, the threat isn't always physical, right? A cyber attack can take a station off the air just as effectively as a hurricane.
That's why they build layers and layers of digital defense. Everything from heavy-duty firewalls to multi-factor authentication and constant training for the staff so they know how to spot a phishing email. They have to guard that digital front door just as fiercely as the physical one.
So you can have all the backup towers and firewalls in the world, but they're pretty useless without skilled people to run them. And that brings us to the human element of all this, protecting a station's most valuable asset, which is, of course, its people.
You gotta remember, when a big storm is raging for days on end, the news team can't just clock out at 5 p.m. and go home. They often have to shelter in place at the station. And that means the station has to be stocked and ready with all the essentials: food, water, first aid kits, places to sleep, and you can bet they have a battery-powered radio just to make sure they can monitor their own broadcast.
But what if your lead engineer is trapped at home by floodwaters, or the main anchor can't make it to the station? This is where the planning gets really smart. Key staff are cross-trained to do other jobs. Someone from the sales department might be trained to run the on-air control board. A board operator might know how to make a simple but crucial technical repair. It creates this flexible, resilient team that can adapt when key players are missing.
Okay, so the storm has finally passed. The immediate danger is over. But the work is far from done. This last phase is all about recovery. But even more importantly, it's about learning from what just happened to make the plan even better for next time.
A huge piece of the recovery puzzle is, of course, financial. Getting back up and running is expensive, and that's where a whole portfolio of different insurance policies comes into play. They've got the standard property insurance, sure, but they also have specialized stuff. Business interruption insurance helps pay for things like renting temporary equipment. And get this, the policy that often covers massive broadcast towers is called marine insurance, a term left over from the days of insuring cargo on ships. And now, cybersecurity insurance is an absolute must-have. But you know, maybe the single most important step in the entire process happens after the crisis is over. The whole team gets together for a deep dive debriefing. What went right? What went wrong? Where did our plan get pushed to its limits? They take those lessons and use them to make the plan stronger, creating this constant cycle of improvement.
So the next time you see your local news crew out in a storm, keeping you informed while you're safe at home, you'll have a little insight into the incredible amount of preparation and planning that makes it all possible. They have a detailed plan to stay on the air and keep you safe. And that really just leaves one final question for you. Are you prepared too?